Hello everyone, I'm delighted to see you again in this new video. The goal today is to share with you an example of a more complex activity managed in a service center. The third-party application maintenance of a decision-making tool called ClickView. I will also share with you the main encryption methods used and the associated pricing. As a reminder, ABAC is a tool designed to facilitate the evaluation of IT activities in terms of workload and costs. I will also present some elements on the organization of such a service center. The pricing for the maintenance of this type of application will be based on both a complexity matrix and a double ABAC encryption, which are generally negotiated during the bidding process. The first step is to define the work units and the corresponding complexity matrix. This formalizes the level of complexity of each work unit found in the first column of the table presented on the screen. Then, an initial flap will enable the definition of the development load and unit testing for each work unit based on the level of complexity. Based on needs expressed by complexity, development workload is evaluated per unit of work. Then at the global level, as shown on screen. In this illustration, this charge would be 237 days. Method of evaluating workload per unit, displayed on screen, is the same for all units of work. To be more precise, it's necessary to integrate a productivity coefficient into the development costs of repetitive activities, reducing the overall workload. Now that we have defined the complexity matrix and the development workload of work units, the next step is to define the phase ring. This will enable encrypting each of the steps required for the overall implementation of activities, considering the development workload. These include feasibility study activities, functional and technical specifications, development including unit testing, integration testing, validation and acceptance testing, preparation and deployment, and, in a cross-functional manner, management and monitoring of activities. In the previous example, if the development workload is 237 days, the overall implementation would be 427 days, which is 237 days multiplied by 1.8. To obtain the price corresponding to this service, simply multiply this charge by an average daily rate and consolidate, which is called blended rate in English. This blended rate will incorporate the daily rates of the various stakeholders weighted by the average time they will spend performing these activities. Daily rates and time spent by a consultant, a developer, and a project manager will vary, regardless of the service provided. In addition, you can optimize the blind rate by entrusting certain activities to teams located in low-cost countries. To put it differently, if you are involved in offshoring or nearshoring practices for your business operations, the complexity matrix, ABAC structure and contents, productivity rates and pricing are often discussed with service providers during the bidding process and are subject to multiple exchanges. Some comments regarding the phase ring ratios. The level of detail in the steps can be more accurate depending on the requirements and significance. According to the project methodology used, the V cycle, as in my example, or the Agile method, the corresponding activities and ratios will be very different. In Agile mode, the overall costs of implementation and project management are higher. However, there will be a reduced risk of the tunnel effect, resulting in an outcome that is more in line with the client's requirements. The documents that outline and define the parameters of this type of service are as follows. First, the service contract defines the commitments of both parties. I remind you that the partner must achieve results and the client must honor their commitments. The service agreement that defines the services and the associated activity and performance indicators, and the quality assurance plan that describes the organization and processes of the partner's service center. Now, a few words about the organization of such a service center. In general, it is offered by large IT service companies that operate in an industrialized manner. A main team, also called core team, is defined and sometimes dedicated to the client with a dual objective, managing a minimum scope of activity, but also maintaining knowledge and skills in the client's environment. An extended team can also be mobilized depending on the evolution of the volume of the client's needs. All of these teams can be partially or completely near the shore or offshore, depending on the client's strategy, maturity, and market offer. As stated in my previous videos, due to its complexity in terms of organization and technical aspects, this is the intervention mode that requires the most extensive preparation. I am finished with this computer maintenance activity illustration that is managed by a service center. Thank you for listening, and I will see you soon in my next videos.